I'd like to call to order the City of Belton Planning Commission session for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Could we have the roll call, please?
Chairman McPherson,
Here.
Mayor Larkey,
Here.
Councilmember Pryan,
Here.
Commissioner Christensen,
Here.
Commissioner Crate, Commissioner McDonough, Commissioner Ruggles,
Here.
Commissioner Shutt,
Here.
Commissioner Walton.
First item that we have on our agenda tonight is the review of our minutes from our July 15 meeting. Those have been printed and distributed to everyone. Is there any correction, change, update that needs to be made that you are aware of? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve minutes as received?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 15th, 2025.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Moving to our next item under new business, we have PROJ 25-001. This is a request from Jerry and Manos Auto to approve a special use permit for the expansion of a vehicle repair major use in a C2 general commercial zoning district at 215 North Scott Avenue. And we will have Ms. Fernandez present this. Or Director.
Yeah, I apologize. There is a public hearing for this item. It was noticed, and we just left that, mistakenly left that note off of the agenda, but it is a legally noticed public hearing. We did publish it in the newspaper, and the sign is posted.
Okay, so we will call public hearing to order. And now, staff, if you would like to give us the details on this, and we'll see if anyone's here to speak about it.
Definitely. An application was filed for a special use permit to develop a 2,250 square foot building expansion with 3 overhead doors and to plat the property located at the southeast corner of North Scott Avenue and North Oak Street at 215 North Scott. And this property is bound by other commercial auto-oriented uses along North Scott. So to just give a brief history on this particular project, in 2013, staff was approached by the applicant for a business expansion, but was not allowed due to the current North Scott overlay at that time that was in place, even though these expansion plans were discussed with previous planning staff. And in 2024, staff worked with the applicant through the comprehensive planning process, through public engagement sessions, leading to the adoption of the comprehensive plan as well as code changes to the North Scott overlay to allow auto-oriented businesses once again to expand. So here in 2025, based on those changes, auto-oriented businesses are now required to obtain a special use permit for any expansion on the corridor. So these applicants have been very patient with us as we work through all the necessary steps to allow a long-standing small local business to expand on North Scott. And we're excited to bring forward the first auto-oriented expansion on North Scott since the overlay was revised. The subject property is zoned C2 General Commercial, which permits the expansion of the auto use with a special use permit. The plan before you meets all site design requirements except for 2 modifications that they've requested, which is a reduction in the side setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, and for no masonry to be added to the new building, as opposed to the 50% requirement in the UDC. The site plan indicates that Lot 1 currently has 2 existing buildings on the property. The new 2,250 square foot building is proposed to be placed along the south property line on an existing concrete pad. The building is proposed to be set back from the face of the principal structure and 5 feet off that southern property line, as well as behind an existing fence that is on site today. The 3 bay doors that are proposed will be facing internally or north on the site. And the applicant was again requesting modification to allow the side 5-foot setback, which staff believes is acceptable in this current circumstance based on site constraints as well as the character of the corridor. The code requires that with these types of expansions and based on the changes to the overlay, that other site-related items be brought into code compliance. So as part of this project, staff has conditioned a few different things. I'll just list them here. Unpaved parking and outdoor storage areas would need to be paved. Existing trailers and shipping containers used for storage would need to be removed. Outdoor storage and materials will need to be moved into a building, and only vehicles will be stored outside. And existing parking lots would need to be restriped for any designated parking spaces. And all of these things have been discussed with the applicant as well. As shown on the site plan, there are a few street trees being proposed, which is another requirement through the UDC is for additional landscaping to be added. So a few street trees are being proposed along the front on North Scott Avenue. I'll switch to, oh, okay. These are not great, hold on. That's a little bit better. So the proposed building is a metal-sided building with 3 bay doors, and it would have a blue and white color scheme which matches the current building on site. And staff did not request any masonry or wainscoting on this particular building because again, it's behind a fence, a privacy fence, and it has limited visibility from North Scott as well as North Oak Street, which is a dead-end street. And this type of building is not out of character for the corridor. Recently, we also approved a building expansion for comfort systems at 128 West Markey Road, so this is very much like that. Based on the findings of fact, the Jerry and Meadows auto expansion meets all city standards and requirements in the UDC outside of the modifications requested. And staff believes that the proposal is a great first expansion project on the North Scott corridor since the modifications to the overlay. This business has been wanting to expand based on demand for several years, and staff would continue to work with the applicant to bring their property into compliance with the approval of additional indoor space. Staff recommends approval of the application for special use permit, preliminary plat, and final plat with these 7 conditions. And just one note on all of the conditions, since this is the first application of this kind, we're currently proposing that all of these conditions be met within 1 year of approval. Otherwise, the special use permit would have to come back before the planning commission. So I'm here, and then the applicant's here for any questions.
Let me just ask the applicant, is there anything additional you would like to share with us other than what Ms. Fernandez has shared? If so, if you come to our podium over here, the microphone, just give us your name and
My name is Eric Gonzalez. I'm from Jerry Mays Auto. It's a family-operated business. We've been growing, especially with community, so that's what I've been requesting.
Technical difficulties.
Oh.
I gotta restart.
One sec.
we can hear you fine, but we want to make sure that anyone that's watching online
Hello?
is able to hear you as well. So there we
So
go.
I'm
All
Eric
right.
Gonzalez from Jerry Mays Auto, family-operated business for the past almost 20 years. We've been requesting for expansion because the business has been growing, especially with the community. A lot of referrals, a lot of business coming in. So the building that we're asking is to, of course, repair on vehicles, being that the vehicles need repairs. And instead of being repairing outside, we can be inside. That's about it. And thank you for everybody's support. And thank you.
All right. Since this is a public hearing, we will ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor or in opposition to the presentation. One more time, anyone here from the public wants to speak in favor or in opposition? We will close the public hearing and leave it to commissioners. Any questions that you have about the project?
I have, I'm still not sure what business it is, whether it's a salvage yard or used car lot or repair shop or
It's auto repair and sales.
auto repair and shows. It's not a salvage yard?
No.
There's just a whole bunch of salvage vehicles piled everywhere?
No. It's just vehicle repair and sales.
I find it kind of ironic, this is the same meeting as the beautification criteria meeting. Because, you know, that place, you know, it's pretty much an eyesore and has been for years and years. You know, it's what we're talking about, it's, you know, they've got ATVs park on the curb all the time, blocking the handicap walk right there. Actually today, but all there's junk and debris everywhere. What, on that road, is it North Oak?
Yes.
You know, that's gonna stay gravel.
That is part of the conditions in this project is for that to be paved.
That's gonna be paved.
Yep.
You know, I don't know about the car lot next door. I think that's like the same business because, you know, that road's usually blocked with vehicles. They're overflowing from one side to the other. There's usually a big dumpster sitting right in that road also, if that's a road. Now, what about that big, for nothing else, carport, giant carport there? Is that gonna be removed?
We are going to continue to work with them with this project. The main reason the site looks the way it does is because there's not enough indoor space. So as part of this, there's gonna be ongoing code walkthroughs and working with them to move those things that you mentioned indoors, which is why they're asking for the size of building that they're asking for.
And they're gonna build that building within 5 feet of the property line next door?
Yes, which is their current fence line, I believe.
Whole bunch of fences everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, the whole place needs to be cleaned up.
And the
It's an
applicant,
eyesore.
the applicant has shared with us that one of the reasons why there's so many cars stored outside is because they have limited, garage-based space. And so they have to have the vehicles stored
I'll take
outside.
a bigger building than that to get all the cars
So,
inside.
it'll at least allow them the opportunity to turn the cars around quicker and get them off the site.
Skeptical, okay.
Speaking about the setback, ask fire department, is there any concern or issue with the side setback being 5 foot?
With the side setback, no, sir, not that I'm aware of.
Any other questions? Comments?
You said there was landscaping involved with this? They were gonna put up some trees?
Yes, they're putting in street trees along North Scott.
And then what are the garage doors gonna look like? Thought we were recommending glass doors for along North Scott, or am I mistaken?
Do you want to answer?
That's only for garage doors that are facing the street.
Okay, because it's going to Oak Street? I got you, all right.
So for this being the first of its kind, I'm assuming this is going to be the precedent going forward? Is this how we're going to use this and the codes and everything that we?
Yeah, so obviously this is our first application under the new overlay adjustments. And our hope is to work through all of the different code issues or, you know, violations that might be on the site, but also help work within the expansion that they need to help make those improvements.
I, for one, hope the city holds their feet to the fire and makes them do what they're supposed to do. That would be unusual, what I've seen in the past.
That's why we put in the 1 year,
Right, well, I know you're putting it in, but I hope it gets enforced.
definitely. It is part of the public record and it will be part of the approval, so, the applicant will be held to the 1-year, timeline on these, and we've been working closely with them thus far, and we definitely will keep doing that.
Have a mow. Who's paving North Oak? Or they are?
The
or
applicant
you are?
is. It functions as more of a private drive than it does an actual street. And so, because that's the main drive into their properties, they will be paving that.
So it's gonna be paved to the back property line?
It will be paved to, it's roughly in the middle of those parcels, I believe, where it ends now.
Where that parcel ends? Where what ends?
Yes. Where the drive currently ends, yes.
So to follow up with that, looking at the, on page 6 of our packet, at North Oak, it does look like it continues on past the outline for the business property line. Will that just go to their property line, or will it continue on?
We would
far
only
as the
require
paving.
it to be paved back to the back of their property line. There's another property owner behind there that if they come in for any sort of redevelopment of that property, they would be responsible for paving the remainder of that.
Let me get one more thing clear on that big carport, junky looking thing and those fences there. You're gonna be, is that gonna be removed, or you said you're gonna be working with them on that? It's right there where the building is supposed to be.
With the building expansion, we are trying to get rid of any of the accessory structures, like the carport. So that will be removed. As well as the outside storage moved indoors.
And what about all those fences and the lean-to and stuff? That's gonna try to get it cleaned up?
Yeah, our neighborhood improvement team and us, will work through all those different items that might be code violations over time, yes. At this point, they need more space indoors to be able to clean up stuff, so.
Well, it might help them, but just housekeeping would help around there.
Additional discussion? Questions?
I have a question. Why are we suggesting no masonry if that's the current guideline? Why are we suggesting no masonry on the front of this one?
So there was a like project where we did the building for comfort systems at 128 Markey. And we suggested the same thing, where a metal building was behind a privacy fence and behind the principal structure or the building up front. And we also didn't require any masonry on that as well.
So this won't be visible. If you're driving
No.
down North Scott,
No.
you're not gonna see this building?
Not really. You're gonna see a little bit of the gable of the
Okay.
roof. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
There is still a privacy fence that will run right in front of it. There is a current privacy fence. So it shows it on the plan here, that's what, this line is basically, but there's a privacy fence that runs right there.
Deanna, we're not seeing, we're looking at agenda on both screens.
One moment. It is an older fence. It is an older fence. And through the codes process, we will help update, try to get certain things updated as well like the fence and outside I promise. This is a small local business, so we are trying to do incremental upgrades. So we can't request all of these things to be done at once, but we can make those incremental steps to help clean up the properties, which will affect all of North Scott, and we'll try to do this with all of the businesses on North Scott as well. And we know it's not gonna be all at once, making everything look nice and new, but the small steps will get us there. Yes. So
Correct.
now that you can see it, there's a privacy fence that runs right here in front of the
Where's
building.
still can't see the agenda.
There.
Okay,
It comes and goes, but it's
Okay.
mirroring on both screens with the agenda when you go to point.
okay.
While they're working on that, Director, could I ask maybe for you to give a little bit of the backstory as far as North Scott? I know that we did have a plan for them that was completely different, that has recently been changed and
Yeah.
thought, especially for those that might be watching, just so that they understand.
Yeah, so in 2014, the city worked with a consultant that put together a plan for the North Scott corridor. That plan really focused heavily on kind of cleaning up the corridor, especially on property maintenance and deferred maintenance throughout the area that led to a lot of general nuisances for the community and just lack of aesthetic improvements were being made. In 2017, based on that plan, an overlay district was adopted. And under that overlay district, all of the auto-oriented uses became legal non-conforming uses. Essentially, they were allowed to not expand or make any improvements to their property. Furthermore, no new businesses of those types could open up on the corridor. So it pretty much kind of basically froze all of these businesses, which did not allow them to make those improvements, even things that would have been in keeping with the overlay plan. And so because of that, we received a number of concerns, including from the applicant. They have a desire to try to clean up and reinvest in their property, but they were unable to. So we've worked with them and a number of other businesses throughout the comprehensive planning process. There were some special meetings for the North Scott corridor through the comprehensive plan, and then earlier this year, back in February, for a land use code update change that we were looking at. We brought forward those plans to the Planning Commission in March and then adopted by council at the end of April. And those essentially allowed these land uses to continue on North Scott, but would require a special use permit for any future expansions or redevelopments or new uses of those types. As part of that, we also looked at the overlay and tried to ease some of the restrictions that were on there, that in some cases were more restrictive than the development standards on other parts of the city. And so this is the first project that has come through subject to that. And, overall, we're just trying to find ways for incremental improvements to be made in North Scott. I think any improvement is better than just letting it continue to sit in its current state. And as part of that, we built in those incremental improvements that do require certain property maintenance items to be brought up to code related to paving. We know we have a lot of gravel parking lots or parking lots in disrepair. There's almost zero landscaping throughout the corridor, so that's something that we're really targeting. And then just general removal of outdoor storage to try to get rid of those things. And so this is the first project that we have. I don't think it'll be the last. This one's a little bit tricky just because it is a small property and they do have a lot of items that do need to be addressed. But they have been very responsive with us, and I think we've developed a good relationship with them, and we'll continue to work with them on making these improvements.
Very helpful.
I have one more question. Like the new building, the setback, you're getting so close. I'm sure there must be a reason why. But I don't know why It's at an angle there, so you cut into the setback so closely. They couldn't straighten that out and keep it 10 feet all the way?
So if they move it any closer to if they shift it any further away from the property line, they then run into some challenges with the existing building. And so they're trying to keep a little bit of separation there so they have room to move between the buildings. And the 5-foot setback, that's pretty common on some of these older parts of the North Scott corridor. And the 5-foot setback is what generally is required by fire code too. So the 10-foot is more restrictive based on zoning, but for building and fire, 5 is standard.
So why is it so close to the property line? Because they want it to be?
It's not a huge site, so the further you push it into the center of the property, the less space there is for garage access and parking of vehicles. I think that would be better than just having 10 foot of space on the side, that's not gonna be usable for them and is likely gonna be harder to maintain.
I don't know if this is what you're talking about, Commissioner, or not, but it does appear that that back right corner is a lot closer to the property line than the front left corner. And
Okay.
is there a reason why that would not be
Why wouldn't they put a parallel with the property
with the
line?
property
Yeah,
line?
so that is due to that, where the garage is gonna go is already a paved surface, so they already have a concrete pad there. So it is not paved parallel with the property line, so they're trying to
Building on
utilize,
an existing foundation then?
yes, they're trying to utilize the existing pad that's already there for this.
Well, that's the answer then, okay.
And the trees will be along North Scott to give some of the buffer there aesthetically. Other questions, comments? Are we ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve project 25-001 as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any final discussion, comments? Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Pryan,
Aye.
Mayor Larkey,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Shutt,
Yes.
McDonough,
Aye.
Chairman,
Aye.
Ruggles.
Aye.
We will move on to PROJ 25-001. Okay, so I can go ahead and read what we'll move on to, but this is a request from Jerry and Manos Auto to approve a preliminary plat for Jerry and Manos Auto, a one-lot commercial subdivision on .45 plus or minus acres at 215 North Scott. Any additional information to share on the preliminary plat consideration?
No.
We know what this is about.
I have a question. Why are they
Sure.
all the same number? They're all PROJ 25.
Oh, that is our internal project numbering
Okay,
system. So now we're adding those to our
instead
staff
of,
reports.
all right, because I thought they were different for preliminary plats and final plats.
Yeah, so that's just our internal project monitoring number.
All right.
Okay. So we have before us the preliminary plat. Any further questions or discussion on it? Or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve project 25-001 preliminary plat.
Motion, is there a second? Second, all right. Last discussion. We have the roll call, please.
Mayor Larky,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
McDonough, McPherson,
Aye.
Ruggles, Shutt,
Aye.
Pryan.
Aye.
You. And we have one more PROJ 25-001. And this is a request from Jerry and Manos Auto to approve a final plat for Jerry and Manos Auto, a one-lot commercial subdivision on .045 plus or minus acres at 215 North Scott Avenue. And I'm going to guess that the same information holds on the final plat.
Yes.
All right. Any discussion, questions, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the final project 25-001 for a final plat as presented.
All right. We have a motion, second. All right. And we'll call one more time for any final questions, discussion. Seeing none, could we have the roll call, please?
McDonough. Shutt,
Aye.
McPherson,
Aye.
Pryan,
Aye?
Christensen,
Yes.
Ruggles,
Aye.
Mayor Larky.
Yes.
Got me all confused here. All right, moving on to item D. We have the Belton Beautification Plan, and we will hear from Ms. Fernandez concerning this.
So I apologize. I don't know why these TVs are not following my screen, but
Thank you.
Tyler's going to scroll along with me back there. So, super excited to bring this to you for review. So the beautification plan and beautification committee came from the adoption of the comprehensive plan. So right after it was adopted, we put together a beautification committee because there were a lot of themes surrounding beautification that came from the comprehensive plan. So we started this back in October of 2024. It seems like a long time ago. I finished this right before I went on maternity leave, so we're gonna scroll through. I'm not gonna say everything in here because I know you guys have it in your packet and can look through. But the committee was made up of community development people and public works personnel and parks and Madison, our development technician. So a smattering of different city staff to help put this together. So quick table of contents. We just went over our committee as a whole, our purpose, vision and goals, our existing conditions analysis, which included all of the city of Belton. Specific beautification areas we've identified, and then implementation, which hopefully will take place all in 2025. We have a phase 1. So some of the main themes that we saw out of the comprehensive plan were specifically beautification, community identity, and walkability. So through the committee, we were hoping to achieve all of these goals or help move those along. As a committee, we put together a vision and goals for this specific plan. And our vision statement that we came up with was to provide a vibrant, sustainable, and walkable community through intentional beautification, engaging signage, public art, and cohesive community identity. So we're hoping to achieve those things that came directly from the comprehensive plan through this subsequent smaller plan to help focus on specifically beautification and those things. So the goals that we created within this plan are to improve the urban tree canopy, improve community aesthetics, implement environmental educational signage, designate areas for art and public spaces, establish a unique plant list for Belton, increase visual recognition through wayfinding signage, and implement sustainable maintenance practices. So these are all overarching from public works to parks to community development, so they're all little pieces in each of those departments. This is a quick summary of where beautification and walkability and community aesthetics come into play in the goals from the comprehensive plan. I won't bore you with all of this, but there are a lot of chapters that this comes up in and is noted in the comprehensive plan. These are specifically taken from the ETC survey that we did with the comprehensive plan, which shows everyone's specific wants in terms of community aesthetics, walkability, all of those things scored really high in our survey. So that's just noting that here. And then we were also able to bring in the survey results from the Parks Master Plan, which also showed the same sort of data when it comes to aesthetics and walkability and connectivity and community identity. So with all of those goals and vision, we started with an existing conditions analysis, which I'm sure you've heard a lot recently. But we basically created a survey to go out and survey certain sites throughout the city. So we created a methodology and an on-site, on your phone scoring system where we could visit certain areas and score each item and see kind of where we are right now. So we had 6 different question areas. Those were maintenance of landscaping, presence of junk, debris, and weeds, use of landscaping practices, community benefit, overall appearance, and any extra fun things like hanging baskets or banners or things like that. So trying to score public space, essentially, and how it looks right now. So overall observations that we had from that field survey, the community benefit section was the lowest scoring. So basically, does it matter to people? Does this bring anything to pedestrians? Lack of landscaping in general was an issue. So there are a lot of public areas or corners or entries that didn't have any landscaping at all. Current areas give very little community benefit. So again, not having that that oomph for, bang for your buck on landscaping. We should bring that community benefit up. And established areas are generally well maintained. So that was a good thing on our end, is that there's not a lot of junk, trash, debris, weeds in the areas that do exist. So this is just a quick summary of the survey results. And with this plan, we only have really worked through phase 1. So our overall vision and goals are not just for this year, obviously. This committee will continue to meet and go through each phase until our plan has concluded. So this is just phase 1 right now. So this isn't everything that's been surveyed yet. We've only really worked through the pressing things. But right now, this is how our survey looks. So each question was 5 points. So there was a total of 25 points possible to be perfect, basically. So on average, we have a 12.2, and average per question was 2.43. So we're kind of averaging in that, 50% range. And you can kind of see the lower ones here, community benefit. We scored the highest in not having junk, trash, and debris, which is great. So that just means we're taking care of what we've got currently. But obviously there's room to grow. So as a committee, we put together an overall map of what we would like to see citywide in areas we would like to focus on. So this map here is everything done, all the areas designed, and something has happened in all of these places. So this obviously isn't what we're going to accomplish this year, but this is kind of our overall vision. So you can kind of see the legend, but the orange lines are commercial corridors, so that's North Scott and 58 and Main Street. And then we've got the dark blue, navy color, which are just major intersections or boulevards. So all of those areas, we expect to have some sort of median landscaping or some sort of design along them. And then the green dots are park entry areas, and then the yellow dots are all art areas, so public art. Our art commission's working on a public art program, so that kind of goes into this as well. And then we've got monument areas, which is the lighter blue, which is essentially a Belton monument sign of some sort. So I'm gonna scroll back up. So these are all just kind of picture identifiers of what all of those things might look like. With major intersections, boulevards, we want a cohesive median landscaping template, basically. We want Belton to be able to stand out and look a certain way, so when you drive through Belton, you know where you are. In the monument areas, we've put together a quick, well, not quick, because we actually made some, but wayfinding signage package. So this is where those wayfinding signs that you see around came from. So this is kind of the suite that we put together. So those are kind of what we're talking about when we say monument signs. And then commercial corridors, obviously we do not own all of the property along our commercial corridors. MoDOT owns 58 and North Scott has almost no green space. So the commercial corridors, we will be working with private property owners mostly to try to help update their landscaping along those frontages with incremental improvements like we had here today, or any business expansions or anything like that. We're going to try to amp up landscaping along those corridors. And we've even talked about doing some sort of grant program or cost sharing or something like that with the city to help get those up to date. Park entry areas, Parks already does a great job of making their entries nice, but enhancing those and then helping with connectivity to trails and getting those street trees put in and things like that. And then the public art program, we're hoping to add public art pedestals in areas with lights and electrical for art to be placed. We're just focusing on pedestals right now until the Art Commission can get a program up and going, and then we can start rotating sculptures and art pieces and things like that. But right now, we're just identifying areas that those could go. Okay, phase one. So with that big map, we've narrowed it down to a phase one of the most important things right now based on construction that's happening and just opportunities and money that we've got. So that little map shows you what phase one is going to kind of encompass. We're going to be focusing on 163rd Street medians, and I'm sure you've already seen the work happening there right now. They're currently putting in irrigation, so that is going to definitely help us keep our medians nice and beautiful. Public Works has put in $95,000 in the budget for specifically beautification, landscaping, things like that, that will be dictated through this plan. So we've been working with the landscape professionals with Public Works to get that installed. And we're hoping to have your guys' blessing on this plan because that is generally what we would go forward with in the medians. And then East Markey Parkway, the extension is happening. So there is a median there that we would like to put in landscaping in that median. And then East Markey Parkway, current Markey Parkway, we would like to just do some general upgrading to the landscape in those medians and keep it similar with the extension. Main Street, there is a small project or two on Main Street that we would like to accomplish this year, which I'll go through in a second. And then the South Mullen roundabout is looks great. We would also like to put some landscaping and an art piece in that particular roundabout. So, the 163rd Street medians, this particular plan, this page might be better. So we worked with, Pablo and Jared, I'll name call them, with putting together a landscape plan for the medians. And this particular project, we are proposing to add a new monument sign in the medians. We would install perennial grass beds, we would add brand-new street trees, and an art pedestal in the medians. So this includes both the south and north side of 163rd Street median, so in front of Casey's as well as in front of the Encore, so both sides there. Both sides, we've recommended putting in monument signs. You've got a nice Belton sign on either side of the highway there, and upgrading all of the landscaping. So we've got perennial flowers, we've got grasses, we've got shrubs, and kind of sticking with a Belton palette. We talked through, certain street trees, redbud trees, and perennial grasses and flowers. And that's kind of what we're going with, trying to stick with native plants, which is more maintenance friendly. East Market Parkway, less exciting, but general maintenance, adding more shrubs, adding more evergreens along there. I think there is a dead tree or two, dead shrub or two, so general maintenance there, not a lot of money spent on that. Market Road extension, we would be adding something similar to the other side of Markey Road to keep it contiguous. So we would be seeing the evergreen shrubs, the street trees, and then adding a art pedestal to this particular median as well. So Main Street, exciting. At the beginning of Main Street, on Cedar and Main, there are those corner bump outs where we had the purple sign, unfortunately, fell and was removed. But a new plan that we came up with was to put perennial grasses in those bump outs and install entry monument signs, which would have our Belton logo and Main Street on them. So our economic development director is currently working through some bids on that. But essentially they would be 3-sided triangle monument signs. So if you were driving one way or the other, you would see them, and they would be internally lit. And those would be on both sides there in those bump outs. And just a refresh of landscaping in there, in those bump outs as well. In front of the annex right here, we've proposed taking out the dead and old landscaping and old signage that's out of date and just refreshing the in front of our building here with more native plants. And then Public Works, this year we'll continue to do the container plantings along Main Street, but we would like to revisit that and think of a more economical solution. Right now, the container plants are easier to water because there's no irrigation along Main Street. But we would like to revisit that maybe when we talk about the streetscape along Main Street next year or two. South Mullen Road roundabout, it's nice and large, so hopefully we won't have the same issues of people driving right through the middle. We would like to test that out and see how we do. So we would like to put in some larger trees in the middle to hopefully deter people from driving straight through it. and install an art pedestal, a larger one, in the center of the roundabout to try to get some nice focal point, larger sculpture there. So that is currently what we have planned for phase one with our $95,000 budget in Public Works Fund currently, as well as Economic Development had $20,000 for wayfinding signage. So we've got some other pots of money that we're kind of combining here to help make this happen. And then here is our Belton plant list. Again, we worked with Public Works on this. This is to be specifically our plant palette, so trying to keep it pretty native plant friendly, maintenance friendly, and colorful. So we've got a lot of autumn plants here that will have nice colors in autumn and show interest throughout the year. Native grasses and things that will be easily maintained but give some visual interest all year round. So this is kind of what we're working with right now to try to help with any sort of project we end up doing to make sure that we're all cohesive and planting the same things. So I was going to put cost estimates in here, but we are still working through contractor cost estimates for particulars of these projects. But I will update this when we get those. I think Public Works is still working with landscape contractors on plant costs and things like that, but we will update that. And a few key partnerships to point out with this plan. You guys are our first stop, so this is our first presentation of this plan, is to you guys. But we're going to be making our rounds to the Public Arts, Belton Arts Commission with this finalized plan so they can look at it. But we've obviously worked with these people along the way, but basically for their blessing on this particular plan. The Arts Commission, Tourism Council, Main Street Coalition, Park Board, and Urban Forestry Council, all of those partnerships will be instrumental into bringing this plan forward and actually implementing it. So we've got all of those meetings set up, so we'll be making our rounds presenting this, but this is in a draft state right now. So if you guys have any comments, suggestions, feedback, additions, we're always going to have a running list of things to look into or think about, so feel free to send them my way or let me know. But that's all I've got on it right now.
No
Thoughts,
arch over Main
questions?
Street?
The arch, yes.
I put in a suggestion for an arch over Main Street. I guess they didn't make the cut.
Yes, so this is phase one.
Okay.
But there is a design that I did of an arch, if you haven't seen it.
Alright.
There is a design. We have just thought that it wouldn't go in those bump outs right at Cedar, that it would actually go more where the commercial part of Main Street starts. So it would actually be further down, not in front of those homes right there. So, still in the plan, just need a little bit more money next go around for that to happen. But it's definitely in there. Still thinking about it.
With the signage down on Main Street, would it have some of the businesses on there like that old sign did, or is it just gonna be the triangle thing?
Just the triangle thing, yeah. Just more of a, this is Main Street than a trying to keep up with all the businesses and making sure everyone has space, so, yeah. Nice bold colors, Belton branded, sort of thing.
And then, the native plants you talked about, mostly the grasses
Mm-hmm.
and what, I guess, the catnip and maybe the coneflowers. I know native plants aren't necessarily as colorful as usually.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like the grasses and stuff, I think it'd be cool to like point out to people that these are the native plants.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm doing that with my landscaping, and I understand that it's not always fun to look at. People get the mess, but really, it's what we grow in this area.
Yes. And I think we've had some comments about our native plants like that in the past. There are a couple of detention areas, for example, that do have a lot of native plants in them. And that's why one of our goals on that earlier page was to put in environmental education signage. So to definitely help educate people on, hey, this is a butterfly habitat, or this is a wetlands area that requires certain plants. So definitely instituting those signs around town and educating people on that will definitely help. And ultimately, it saves us water, it saves us man hours, and better for the environment altogether. So, yeah, that's definitely.
After, but I know there's a business in Grandview that did all their landscaping in native plants.
Okay,
Sufficient, and it's very cool, and they actually have some pop color.
cool.
I know it took a pretty penny and 75 years for it to develop, but it's pretty cool once it's developed.
Yeah, definitely. Any sort of partnerships. The two people I mentioned from Public Works, they come from Suburban Lawn and Garden. Huh? Sorry, Rose Hill. Don't want to get that wrong. Rose Hill. And they were growers, so they do have a lot of plant knowledge. So we're definitely leaning on them heavily on this, but we're happy to have them in the group, and they're definitely helping us move this stuff forward. But any sort of partnerships, we welcome.
One question, and it doesn't necessarily go with this right now, but I know the storm a couple weeks ago really did a number on our mural.
Oh,
I-
was there
We
damage
just
of the mural?
walked by a couple, or
Okay.
walked through there a couple days ago.
Okay.
And I didn't know if that was, I mean, the water was clear up basically to the top of the tunnel. And it's not bad, but there's definitely some spots where you can see paint is missing. Looks
Okay.
like something hit it and knocked that off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can definitely get with Mike, our economic development director. He might be able to reach out to the painter and have her just, touch it up and maybe throw some protective coating on top. But yes, good point.
Any other comments, questions about the beautification? I think it's great. I have had several comments made recently. One, recently we drove down North Scott with someone that hadn't seen it for a while. And they commented, this really does look a lot better than it used to. So I know we're making progress on that. I know sometimes it's a little slow and frustrating that we can't get everything done. And then today, someone told me they had been up at the community center and at High Blue, and they said it is such a nice place, and just a lot of comments about what we have. So
Yeah.
just comments that I have heard about the city and
Awesome.
the looks of it that we have, and I think we're on the right track.
Yeah.
I appreciate all that you all are doing.
Awesome, good. This, obviously, I didn't touch on our current work that we do with our development plans, but obviously that's another component with what me and Matt do, is to get all the landscaping installed with each development plan. So that's another thing that we just do on our own outside of the plan, is make sure that each private development has ample landscaping installed and maintained over time. So that's just another component. But yeah, as we move forward, we'll definitely keep you guys updated. And again, this is a draft. We're just hoping to move forward with phase 1. So if you have any comments on that specifically, or possible phase 2 on what you would like to see happen there.
Besides the arch.
Besides the arch, let me know. Yeah. Yeah. I know, the arch is a big one, and actually, I think we're pretty close. I think we got a bid that wasn't too bad, so, yeah. Mike is dealing with that, so if you wanna details on it, ask Mike.
I heard St. Louis has one. We might be able to slip over there some
Oh.
evening and just take it.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, any action that we need or anything on this?
No, this is really just a presentation for any feedback you have. We'll also be talking about it with council next week at their work session. As Jenna mentioned, the Park Board on August 18th, the Art Commission on August 19th. And then depending on how all those conversations go, we plan on bringing a resolution forward to council in September to formally adopt it, which will guide future budget requests for future phases.
Good. Thank you for all the hard work to all of those that have put in on this. Next item, update on the Unified Development Code.
Yeah, our consultant Multi-Studio just finished the code review of our current code, and where there are some gaps and some improvements that need to be made to that code to be able to implement a lot of the goals within the 2050 comprehensive plan. So they'll be sharing a little bit more of that with the steering committee and the technical review committee tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. And then we will be also presenting, or at least talking with the community at the Fall Festival on Saturday, September 13th, with the consulting team. So if you're going to be at the Fall Festival, feel free to stop by. There'll be some activities there just to get some additional community input on what they'd like to see in the code updates. And then I did send out an email, just a reminder that we will have a workshop with City Council on Thursday. I believe it's Thursday, September 25th, at 6 o'clock. We'll get notice sent out well in advance of that, but just please put that on your calendar. That'll be a little bit more of a deep dive with the Planning Commission and Council on the Development Code update with the consultant.
Right. Any other items to report, Director?
Don't have anything else other than we do have our upcoming meetings on Tuesday, August 19th, and then on Tuesday, September 2nd.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm not going to cancel a meeting again, just because we never know what may come in or we may need to discuss. So I will leave those open, and then if we don't have a meeting, we will send out a cancellation notice the Friday before.
Are there any other motions?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?